The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
I'm attorney Justin Clark. Coming up just ahead on You Have Real Estate, Rose Kemp joins us to talk NAR settlement. Viv goes to Gotha, and we talk about investing in real estate in Ocala. It's all just ahead. It's You Have Real Estate. Are you worried about your student loan payments? I don't blame you. The great news for you is now we have more options than ever. Go to our website, youhavepower.com, to find out what options may exist for you and your student loans.
You Have Real Estate is proudly sponsored by Renewal by Andersen, your full-service window and door replacement company. Learn more at rbafla.com.
Welcome to You Have Real Estate, brought to you by my great friends at Renewal by Andersen. I am your host, Justin Clark. A wonderful show ahead today, but first, the opening statement. We hear a lot about the NAR settlement. What does that really mean for you as a buyer? What does it mean for you as a seller as well? These are questions that a lot of people simply don't have the answer to. A lot of real estate agents do not have the answer. The good news for you is we have the answer here for you today, as we ask real questions to the truly trend-setting people in Central Florida's real estate community. Kick it off today, the president of the Orlando Regional Realtor Association, Rose Kemp. Hi, Rose. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And to her left, my favorite real estate broker on the planet, Vivian Lehman, is here. Vivian, how are you?
Very well.
So, not only are you the president, you practice real estate as well. How has the NAR settlement affected real estate in our community?
Well, new business practices. So we have new business practices, and that's really, in a nutshell, the change. Additional disclosures, and so different ways of doing business. But I love to tell everybody, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Vivian, realtors have been here for 115 years, and the amount of changes that have occurred over the last 115 years is insane, right? Technology, lawsuits left and right throughout the years that change the way we do things. And so this is no different than that. And I know personally, being in business 24 years, I've gone through different forms, updated forms, new disclosures, addendums. New business practices, and that's really the end of the story as far as that goes.
I mean, agents are trying to figure it out, no question about it. But let's say that I'm looking at buying a home right now. I'm a buyer. I'm watching now, and I feel a little bit like I'm on an island by myself because there is a lot of misinformation. If you're a buyer of real estate right now, how has the NAR settlement affected me?
As a buyer, I now have to go to the agent that is going to show me the house and have an agreement directly with that person, that they're going to show me the house, and that I'm willing to pay that agent a commission if the seller doesn't pay a compensation. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to use compensation.
Compensation, tomato, but I know it's supposed to be compensation now. What about from the seller perspective? How has the NAR affected sellers?
So the way we do our listings and the way we pay compensation. So for us here in Florida, we've always had negotiable compensations, negotiable commissions. Now we call it compensation. And so the difference now is that our paperwork reflects that as well. This was a national settlement that affected us here in our state, but at the end of the day, Florida already had those type of disclosures. So now we have new language in our forms. And as far as the buyer, the purchaser goes, it's a new disclosure to them as to how their realtor is being compensated. And so you now as a buyer are hiring your representation. And so more than ever, the value of having a realtor that's experienced, that understands your needs, and is going to help you get to that real estate goal, to the finish line, is more important than ever, because you are essentially hiring them. So I think that there's a lot more thought process into choosing who you're going to work with.
Right. A lot of agents watch the show, as you know, and I think we all know a lot of agents do 2, 3, 4 deals a year. Maybe there are some agents watching right now who have not gotten a real estate deal to the finish line since the NAR settlement. What does that agent need to know about how this affects them and their processes?
I think they need to be in touch with their brokerage themselves and reading all of the information that's coming from Aura to us, because a lot of them don't even know that we no longer show what the compensation is on the MLS.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Some of them really aren't educated, and so that's the problems we're running into.
I come in here and I talk about real estate every week, and I sort of get a feel for the market. I don't even always look at numbers. You get a feel, and I get a feel that the rest of this year is going to be somewhat of a hot market. I think the interest rate's coming down. I feel like there are a lot of people on the sideline that are now jumping into the real estate field, so to speak. What do you see in this market right now, and what do you expect through the end of the year?
So what I love about 2024 that we haven't seen in years is stabilization, right? So the pandemic brought about a lot of change, historic change. And so we've done a lot of pivoting. Our markets have been volatile. We had the historic interest rates, right? And so what's fascinating about 2024 is stabilization. We're seeing inventory rise, gives more opportunities to buyers. Buyers have a lot better opportunity now to actually secure a home, unlike the past couple of years. And we're also seeing stabilization with values, right? For a while there, we saw supply and demand. We saw sellers asking, $50,000, $100,000 more than what their house was worth, and they would get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they would get it. Where now, you have a better opportunity to be able to negotiate and actually secure a home. And with interest rates, anything we see that's a reduction, right, it's going to help that buyer be able to purchase more home. And so that, to me, is also really great news for buyers. They're going to be able to afford more property, and that's great.
In a time of such change for our real estate professionals out there, how important do you think Aura is and the services that you offer to realtors during these times of change?
Absolutely. So the Realtor brand comes from NAR, which is who did the settlement, right? That's what happened. And again, even though Florida wasn't the one that brought about those lawsuits, we at the end of the day are implicated because we're under the NAR umbrella. So NAR is our code of ethics, right? NAR is what brings law to real estate. And that's why we don't have the wild, wild west out there, and that's why realtors exist. Then we have the Florida Realtors umbrella, and then we have our local real estate. Real estate is local. Our association, Aura, is basically taking the information from NAR and Florida Realtors, our state association, and then disseminating that information to our members. But what realtors need to know the most, more than ever right now, is to pay attention to the changes. We are realtors. We are members of the Florida Realtor State Association, and we're members of NAR. And they are giving us all of the tools that we need to be able to better educate our consumers, our buyers, and our sellers. So all the tools are there. You just have to go and get them. And I think that's no different than what real estate is, right? At the end of the day, these are the largest purchases that a person makes in their lifetime, right? And so it's important that we are well educated. And so that's no different than it has been. But more than ever, I just want to say to my realtor colleagues out there, more than ever, it's important to showcase your professionalism and show your value and why realtors are needed. We're so much more than just opening up doors. We are members of our community. We live, we play, and we work in our communities. And so we're out there championing our communities, our cities. And so I hope that all my realtor colleagues do the same.
I do want to kind of clear something up as far as the compensation that let's say I'm representing the seller, okay? And I know what he's willing to pay if a buyer brings an agent, right? But at the same time, I'm not allowed to disclose that on the MLS. That was one of the NAR rules, okay? But I can do that anywhere else. Correct. I can still go out, I can send a flyer to Joe Blow Brokerage and tell them, hey, I've got this new listing. The seller is willing to compensate the buyer's agent X amount. I can do that.
I agree, and I think there's always a beauty. I think change brings opportunities, and I think the beauty of this change is it actually helps us go back a little bit to back in the day, I want to call it, where we actually communicate and call each other and text each other. Exactly. And I think that's great, actually. Even though it's an additional step that realtors need to take, that really is true real estate. It's a relationship-based business, and when we're working with another realtor on a transaction, we're working together.
That's right. And Derek, don't stress about the time. I have a plan, buddy. Aura, beautiful new dig, 6 months in the works.
Yes.
I hope that I get an invite to this party.
Absolutely.
Right? All right.
October 30th.
You Have Real Estate TV show I would think Vivian and I would get an invite, right?
October 30th, and we have a media center for you.
Oh, good.
There
Perfect.
you go.
And speaking of compensation, someone's going to get some compensation on this one. A little neighborhood you might have heard of called Isleworth, made famous by Tiger Woods and golf clubs, but also a beautiful place, of course. Tell me about this listing. Beautiful home, Vivian.
So Isleworth, obviously, the golf course and everything else, the country club. I mean, it's one of our best neighborhoods.
Yep.
And this home, we're probably going to be putting it on the market for about 3.5. And it is a 5-bedroom, 6.5 bath. It has an open pool. It's on about half an acre, and it's almost 6,000 square feet.
Wow. If you'd like to see this property, Vivian can show it to you today. 407-205-0400. Rose, always a pleasure to see you. Tell Cliff we said hello as well, and we'll see you at the grand opening events very soon.
Yeah, and thank you for always supporting us and for getting all this great information out there.
We love it. Vivian, great job as always. Here's what we will do, a very quick break. When we return, we're going to do some traveling, I think, with Vivian. What neighborhood is she in today? As you have real estate continue. Hurricane season is here. People are preparing right now. You guys prepare like crazy in your house. So you're buying canned food, water, power generators, the whole shebang prepared for hurricane season. However, when it comes to preparing for hurricane season, you need to prepare your air conditioning unit as well.
Yes, our friends at Old Ash gave us some awesome tips on what you should do before the storm. You should start by using a suitable anchor to support the outdoor condenser.
Keep the area of items around the AC unit clear because they could always be ejected and really ruin your unit.
Yeah, keep the drains around the air conditioner unit clean as well to prevent water accumulation.
Because water entering that unit could cause a short circuit.
Consider using a weatherproof cover designed for AC units. This can protect the unit from flying debris and heavy rain.
Those projectiles.
Yes,
that's what we call
things
them
you
here,
don't
right?
want to deal with.
During the storm, also install a surge protector for your AC unit to protect it from surges, of course, caused by lightning and power outages.
You should be sure to take a photo of your AC unit and document the serial number because this information can be helpful when it comes to insurance claims.
As a note of interest as well, though, prior to the arrival of a storm or hurricane, you can lower the air conditioner in your house to keep it cool. That way it's already super cold, which you like anyway.
I do.
And then if the power cuts out, it takes a while to heat up the house.
When the storm does hit, keep the air conditioning unit off because consistent power interruptions could cause damage to the compressors as well as other parts of the unit.
After the storm, inspect the condition of the unit, verify that it has not been damaged. If the equipment was not affected, turn on your AC.
I mean, yeah, and you should always keep cleaning your unit to avoid the accumulation of humidities and fungus and other bad things.
Exactly right. Thanks to Old Ash and Duquesne Air Conditioning for giving us an amazing unit number one and these amazing tips to protect your air conditioning unit during hurricane season. I'm attorney Justin Clark. If you're in debt and find yourself living paycheck to paycheck, call me now or visit youhavepower.com today. Welcome back to the show. Every weekend, thanks to Renewal by Anderson, Viv goes to your neighborhood. Today, she goes to Gotha, a place, one of my favorite restaurants down near Windermere as well. Today, with Viv's in your neighborhood in Gotha, and a little special something after this for you.
I'm visiting Gotha, Florida today. With a population of 3,000, it's a small, unincorporated suburb of Orlando. Sitting just north of Windermere, Gotha offers its residents a rural feel with the benefits of being close to downtown Orlando. Gotha's history dates back to the late 1800s when it was a major center for citrus groves and farming. The town of Gotha was founded in 1885 by German immigrant H.A. Hempel. Hempel Avenue, the main street of Gotha, is named in his honor. After buying 1,000 acres, the majority of the acreage still designated as U.S. territory, he laid out a town and named it after his birthplace of Gotha, Germany. The median household income is about $175,000. The median home value in 2023 was $750,000. Today, Gotha maintains its small town feel with a post office, a community center, and several small businesses. Drive along tree-lined Hempel to view some fabulous homes that border the lake. You will find more land with home sites, but possibly not the deal you were thinking you might get in this quaint little community. It's also home to Yellow Dog Eats, a go-to eatery that attracts Orlando residents from every quadrant. Gotha might be the perfect spot to consider when moving to Orlando, and if you'd like more information, please call me, Vivian Lehman, at 407-205-0400. 0400.
Talking about all things home improvement, I like the pretty things in life, don't you?
Like you.
Well, that's sweet. But I mean, like, when you're talking about, like, homes and stuff.
I didn't know if you were trying to say, like,
I was fishing.
pretty girls or something.
Yeah, I was
like,
fishing for compliments. Thank you. Anywho, we are standing.
Is that okay?
Stop.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. We are standing with the queen of design herself, Miss Anna, AW Better Homes and Spaces. You're crushing it. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here. This is cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and honestly,
Excited.
talking about cool, you have literally been bringing cool into people's homes. But first, I want to know a little bit about you. Tell me about you, Anna.
Yeah. I started in the business, in 1997.
Wow.
Don't do the math in your head.
Oh my God, that's the year I was born.
No, it isn't. I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. I answered a job ad for an interior designer with IKEA. We all know IKEA. And I worked with them for 23 years in different avenues of design in the store, in corporate. I'm like the person that when you get into the store and you go, how the heck do I get out of here? I was one of the designers of that. So you're welcome.
Very helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then later in the career, I worked for corporate and I actually built stores. I built the Jacksonville store. I was out here for 5 months. So you go in and it's a shell. And then by the time I leave, it's an IKEA. So it's been amazing. I had an amazing career with them. In 2020, like all other businesses, they reorganized corporate, and I had to make a decision, and I said it's time for me to go out on my own and start my own business. So we moved to Florida here in 2020, and that's what I did. I started my own business and brought with me a lot of the Scandinavian standards and functions and idealism of interior design, which is not only make things beautiful, but also make things functional. And that's pretty much how I approach all of my designs for my clients. It's not really like to go and make things pretty all the time. I mean, it's always about making things pretty, but always starting, but functional, understanding the clients, like how do they work? How do they play? What does a home mean to them? And then start with that idea and then build it up to something beautiful. So.
And talking about trust, I mean, obviously you light up when you're talking about your clients because they mean so much to you. What does trust mean? Because honestly, like you're letting someone into your home, you're letting someone into your own space.
Yeah.
How's that process work?
Trust for me is what you see is who I am. I always say, if you get me, you get me, right? If you get me, you get me, you don't. But that's the trust. That's part of a trust for me. I'm not going in and being someone that I'm not. I know my clients. I've known them sometimes it's 6-month projects. It's a year-long project. So you get to know them and who they are. Moving here in 2020 and starting the business, I didn't have tradespeople that I could trust or that I knew. So I joined a couple of networking groups, met the people that I knew that I can say to a client, you know what, this is a really great painter. Here's an electrician that you can use. I have a contractor that can bid on your project. People that I can send in and know that they are stand-up people, talented people, and that are going to do the job right. So that was super important for me.
Oh, that's so important because you're putting your neck out on the line because, you know, when you refer these kind of people, these people are looking up to you because they trust you, number one.
Right.
And, you know, you need to have someone that you can rely on, whether it's the painter, the electrician, anyone. But I want to talk about your projects because you've done so many different ones from short-term rentals to, you know, homes for snowbirds. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts with a process for me. My clients will never not be involved in the process. So there's always 3 options to like a living room. They'll see their drawing in a layout, which is a 2D design. Then they'll see it in 3D using AI like everybody else, right?
AI.
Yeah, but I will draw the actual plan. It's not like, you know, press a button and AI does it for you. Everything that you see, it's in this 3D photorealistic kind of way that they can see what I'm drawing. I take it from flat to 3D, we walk through the space, and they can really see if that's who they are and what they want to do. I've been really lucky, and I've had a lot of different projects, everything from remodels. I did a remodel project on the beach in Flagler County, which is one of my favorite, and that was, if you go on my website and see all of the projects of before and afters, you'll see that the project for me there was to bring the outside in. So the countertops have movement, and the colors are look like the ocean and the sand and the colors of the sky. So it's really beautiful, to really give a client that feeling that they wanted. Short-term rentals. I had a client that had a space above their garage that they wanted to make into a short-term rental. So it's about learning about that process and what's needed for a short-term rental to flip a room easily and still make it homey. New projects from the ground up are one of my favorites. New homes are my favorite.
Blank canvas.
Yeah, blank canvas is my favorite because a lot of builders want clients to make so many decisions super quick. They break the ground and they're saying, well, what tile are you using? Well, the ground just got broken. Right, we're not there yet, but they want tile, they want flooring before the walls even go up. So sometimes it's daunting and very, very overwhelming for clients. So I'm able to help them with that from that process all the way through the furniture build. Florida's known for snowbirds, a lot of vacation people. So that's a big thing for me. Getting someone from up north that comes down and wants a home that's just as cozy as uptown,
Not in the basement. Upward,
north. But make it maybe different, something that's completely different than what they have up there, but they want something fun down here. So, a little bit of everything.
You work with people from all over the world, all over the country, and you really just hold their hand through the process, which is absolutely amazing. When's the best time to call you?
Anytime, really. But if you go on my website, go to Book Now. You can book a discovery call. It's a free 15-minute conversation. Sometimes they go an hour, depending on who the client is. I've had clients and we chit-chat for an hour. Obviously, you're going to talk an hour with me. And we find out who you are, you find out who I am, and whether or not we're the right fit for each other. And if we are, then I'll come out and see you. And it's
like dating, and then you're going to change your space.
That's what I say. It's like the first date, and then if we make the first date, then I come and we do design consult, and we go from there. So
I love it. Well, Anna, you are changing people's homes. I love seeing your work. It always inspires me. But do yourself a favor and look no further than AW Better Home Spaces for your next rehab or maybe something just new. We'll be right back after the short break.
Are you worried about your student loan payments? I don't blame you. The great news for you is now we have more options than ever. Go to our website, youhavepower.com, to find out what options may exist for you and your student loans. Welcome back to the show, joined by my good friends from Ocala Realty, Luis and Elisha Lopez. Hi guys, how are you? We've been talking about the NAR settlement here. How are you handling buyers right now? So buyers have been sitting on the sidelines. The rates have been high. I think a lot of people are now making offers on properties again as the rates have come down. But now these buyers are coming into this new world, I guess, in the NAR, post-NAR settlement. What are you telling buyers right now, Elisha, what to look out for?
Well, for us and for our agents at Ocala Realtor, we've always trained them to have that initial buyer appointment. So other than paperwork, in a sense, it really hasn't changed much. Now, obviously, the whole thing of compensation is the huge question. But again, it's always been negotiable. And it's always been a topic of conversation with the buyer anyway. So on the agent side of our office, it's just not anything different. But it's nice that buyers want to be more informed.
Sure. Do you think that the NAR settlement has helped buyers, hurt buyers? Everything stayed the same?
I think everything stayed the same. Once again, it's up to the agent's knowledge and experience of who's leading them.
Yeah. What about on the seller side? How now the rates have come down a little bit. I can go buy another house. I'm ready to sell my house. How has the NAR settlement impacted sellers?
Well, the question comes up actually quite often, and it's we're going to talk about it anyway because we have to get to that piece in the listing agreement. And sellers always were concerned about paying commissions and giving compensation to the buyer side. And you would talk about, well, this is what my fee is. Now let's talk about what we're going to pay the buyer's brokerage. So it's a lot of similar conversation, but I think it's really good because you're being transparent and you get to have that open conversation in the beginning.
Yeah.
I feel an instant spark in this market, Luis, because of the rates coming down. And I think it's on the seller side as well. I think a lot of sellers were saying, well, I want to sell my house, but I have to live somewhere and I have a 4% rate. I'm going to go have a 7% rate. And they didn't want to do that. So they're like, you know what, we'll just wait to sell. Right. Now I think the listings are heating up a little bit also. What are you hearing from sellers right now? Are they coming out of the woodwork? Are they ready to sell now?
Actually, yeah. Actually, they're very happy that the rates is coming down, and they finally, after a year and a half or 2 years, they can go on and move on with the plans.
Yeah, Ocala is certainly a very hot real estate market, and it has been all year. It has been 4 years. What do people look like that are buying in Ocala? Where are these people coming from?
They're really coming from all over, but there's a huge influx from South Florida.
Yeah.
And of course, the whole Central Florida with Orlando, Tampa, and then there's always that migration from the Northeast. So it's a nice little combination of.
Yeah. When you start talking about buying real estate in Ocala, how does the price of real estate compare to Orlando?
I think it hasn't moved the needle. I think 30 to 40% we have a much better price, and you get a much bigger house in the lot.
Right.
It's also bigger, so you have more privacy.
HOAs can be a major problem for people. I have people all the time come into my office because we deal with HOAs a lot. They're like, I am not buying a home in an HOA community. They won't do it. HOAs in Ocala are a little bit different.
Yeah, they are. I mean, there's a lot of developing now where you'll have, like with D.R. Horton and Lennar, those type of neighborhoods. But what we think of like Condo Commando and the high HOA and all those restrictions, it's maybe like 10, 15%.
Right.
It's not a big deal.
Speaking of these big developers, there are developments popping up all over the place in Ocala because there's such a demand for housing there. But I also think about the guy who might own a few acres in Ocala or in Marion County, maybe passed down from generation to generation, who doesn't understand they could be sitting on a gold mine because of all that development. What should I be looking for as a landowner in Marion County?
Well, it's all about timing.
Yeah.
If your property is in the right place at the right time, they're going to make you an offer that you can't refuse, whether it's a gas station, a strip mall, or just to put up a couple of townhouses. That's what a lot of investors are coming in and buying a lot less acres and dropping just 30, 40, 50 townhouses.
I'm concerned for that guy because a lot of times this is a good old boy who doesn't really do a lot of real estate. I am concerned, though, that they can get taken advantage of without the right professional around them.
Oh, absolutely. And like, I probably get a minimum of 2 to 3 calls a day from landowners saying, I got a letter in the mail from the developer, and they're offering me this price, but I feel like it's probably low, and they're right. And most of the time we're able to get them 25 to 35% more than what they're offering in that letter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you own real estate throughout Ocala and you want to see what it's worth, the QR code is on the screen right now. I will send it directly to Louis and Alicia, and they will tell you, hey, we think we can get this much for your property. Or if you're looking to invest in real estate, you want to buy a house for your family, you want to buy an investment property, Marion County has some wonderful deals. It's less there than it is here. And even the surrounding areas, it's beautiful up there, but there's still deals to be had. You might be priced out of this market. You're not going to be priced out of the northern Florida area. And it's just beautiful too. It's a different way of life, springs and horses everywhere. What is it like living in Ocala?
It really is beautiful. Yeah. It's like this little chunk of heaven that just cut out. And most of the time I'm driving, I'm like, that's just crazy how we ended up here, coming from Miami and living in the city and the beach, and never thinking like that we would end up calling it home. It's beautiful. A
lot of people doing it from all over the country, really, but certainly South Florida, people moving up. Louis, Alicia, great job as always. Reach out to them about any sort of real estate issue that you have, especially anywhere in northern Florida. They'll tell you where to buy, what to buy, how to invest, or sell your property as well. Wonderful job to you guys as always. Great job, our crew, always killing it here for us. Thank you very much. Most importantly, thank you. See you again next week for more You Have Real Estate.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.